Very good evening to all the educators sitting here. I'll begin with congratulating Mr. Brahmam for the first issue of Brain Feed to his 5th edition of the EdTech conference that he's hosting. His journey is something that I have seen from the beginning. With so much of humility and sincerity, the way he traveled this far, I think he deserves a big round of applause for this. All right, so I asked him and Spandana, what do you want me to talk about? Well, the reply that I got on the mail is that the overarching theme of the conference is empowering educators and building India towards the 2047. It's just 22 years more when we reach 100 of India. And what is it that we want to see in 2047 is something that we need to reflect on and think about. But before that, I think I'd like you to go back to 1947. In 1947, what was the landscape of education in India? Britishers relieved us, we have become independent. And what has been the landscape in all the states of India? Where there was colonial direct rule, we had English education. Where there was no direct rule, we had vernacular education. We had a lot of literacy in some state and illiteracy in some states. And of course, poverty is something all of us are aware of, what was the poverty rate back then. From 1947 to 2024, what has been our journey is something worth reflecting on. But what is not really something to be proud of is the budget for everything else is so high annually except for teacher education. Because if teachers are not there, how do you look at 2047? In the Constitution of India, it has been included and very emphatically written that destiny of a nation begins in its classrooms. If teachers are the architects of that destiny, how are we giving them the dignity that they require in the society, the place that they require in the society, and the empowerment that they deserve in the profession that they have to live in? The budget, as I said, is already worth lamenting on. But however, I think we are generally very optimistic people. We have seen wars in India, we have seen oppression in India, we have seen emergency in India. But our resilience to fight and move on is something that's so commendable. If destiny of a nation has to begin in its classrooms, the journey towards 2047 has to be highly invested in teacher education. The number of B.Tech colleges in India versus number of B.Ed colleges is something that we are not very proud of. Even if we have number of B.Ed colleges, the quality of teacher training that we can talk about is something we are not very proud of. In all the parent sessions that I have in my schools, I ask one question to all the parents. How many of you wanted to be teachers? Nobody raises hands. I ask the second question, how many of you want your children to be teachers? Nobody raises hands. But when I ask, how many of you want good teachers for your children? You can guess all hands raised. So my next question to them would be, where will the teachers come from? If every parent wants their child to become an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or an entrepreneur, where will they have teachers coming from? Teachers don't grow on trees. They don't fall off the sky. You need to work with them. They're human beings. And these human beings are expected to groom another generation to make a better world and a better country. How is it possible? It is still a very private sector. It is still a very disorganized sector for people to feel inspired to be a teacher. There are very rare kind of people and species that exist in our country in spite of all the challenges they take up the teaching profession. And why do they do it? It's a questionable thing. But of course, research says that in India, the first choice of 90% of the teachers who are in teaching right now, the first choice of their profession is not teaching. They have come here accidentally. Okay? In the urban setting that I work in and the kind of educational framework that we have in our schools, I look for a certain ability in teachers when I interview them. Largely, for the last 15 years, I have been noticing that all these women who went to BTech colleges because their parents told them, who did a good job after that, but then once they're married and they have their children, they have to have work-life balance, for which they come back with their children to school to work as teachers. I'm happy, I don't have any regrets about it, because I know that these people come with a certain work experience and a certain worldview. Because largely, if you see teachers who come from the typical B.Ed colleges in our country, have a very tunnel view. So you need teachers who have a worldview, because if you want them to bring the world into the classroom, you cannot have a teacher who has a tunnel view of anything. Why am I harping on this part? The people who are sustaining in this teaching profession, especially in the private schools, especially in the urban settings that I'm talking about, are people who have tasted the other side of the employment and then moved to the teaching, and they're there for good with their children until they finish their school education. Now, what do we do with this kind of population in the schools? How do we empower them? How do we train them? Everything boils down to training. I will take you to a little more before colonialism happened in India. Way back, when Britishers were not anywhere in India, every village in India had a school. Every village. And do you know what was the curriculum in that school? All the elders of the village would gather, appoint a wise man of the village, sit together across a table and discuss, what shall we teach the children of our village? What should be the curriculum of our school in our village? Everybody would come up with very significant points like, our children should learn to promote the ecology of our village, economy of our village, culture of our village, and the social fabric of the village should be protected and preserved. Gandhiji called these schools as beautiful trees. I'm not too sure if the beautiful trees exist now, because with colonialism, the purpose of the curriculum and the purpose of schools has been hijacked. The children in the school learned something which they could not personally relate to. But they only knew that they had to study because that was a formula created at that time for an employment in the East India Company probably. We got the independence. Yes, Nehru and everybody spoke very highly about how we need to bring changes through education. But then, change in education doesn't happen overnight. It took until the 80s and the 90s for certain considerable changes to happen in education. With globalization, once again we have come back to colonial condition. I'll tell you why. When globalization happened, the hype around the BTech courses and the IT jobs has touched the sky. And everybody thought that we need to now be there in that trajectory where nothing else is important other than being an engineer. From 95 till now, till 2024, 20 years now, 30 years now, the scenario remains the same. Objectives of education remain the same. From Stone Age to age of AI, we humans evolved so much. But for the last 3 decades, we are stuck in one certain idea that all education is about going to or to pursue dollar dreams. I think people sitting here, if you feel that you connect to a cause of education that will transform India in by 2047, I think we need to reflect on what is the purpose of running the school. Why are we running the schools? Why are we teaching mathematics? Why are we teaching science? If we start asking that question, that by teaching this mathematics, how is my student going to be a nation builder? By learning this science, how is my student going to be a nation builder? If you get the right answer, you'll get the right purpose to teach a subject. I think if all of us left our schools and we gathered here, it is only to churn our minds, that manthan to happen inside the head here, as to what can we do in the next 22 years to make that India shining a reality, through the schools, because teachers are the architects of the destiny of a nation. How do we rebuild our teacher training? A few years ago, I did a course with Harvard University. The course is called Leading for Understanding. As a school leader, I need to know how to lead my team members, how to help them understand the purpose of what we are doing as a school. In that course, I learned one thing. There is something called ideation, something called intention, and something called intention implementation. Between them, there's something called intention specificity. When you as a school can specify why are you running a school, and if you have an idea for why you're running a school, specify that intention. And when your why is clear, work on implementation of that intention. Once you work on that implementation, I think that is when you begin to see your role in the nation building. All of us together are responsible for the transformative journey that either in this conference or generally in the country, the mood is. The mood is about what are we going to do? Because if you remember, last 10 years we have been ranting about sustainable development goals. By 2030, we need to achieve this. 2030 is just barely 5 years, 4 years away now. 2047 is only 22 years away, and a long journey that we have to do, and a strenuous journey that we have to undertake, because through our classrooms, we have to make a better India. How do we make it? I'm sure each one of you sitting here, you have your own purpose for being a teacher or a school promoter or a school headmaster or a principal. If you know your purpose, you would know how that purpose will contribute to the growth of the country. In my schools, I ensure that all my children grow up with the idea, me and my country, we grow together. And I have made them last year reflect on, when you are 20, country will be 100. And how would you perceive your role in that country, which is a 100-year-old country? It's the same thing that applies to you and to me as to school leaders or school teachers or school promoters or people who contribute to school in multiple external ways. How are we contributing to the growth of the country? How will we all believe that me and my country, we grow together? On that note, I wish you all the best. I don't know whether I'll be alive in 2047 to see it, but all those who will be there, I think we should all have a reason to celebrate about our great nation. Jai Hind.